Hi guys! Today we have a new laser engraver to test and review. It's the LaserPecker LP2. You want to know more? Then stay tuned! Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Rui and this is the Rui Raptor YouTube channel. If you want to help us out, you can by giving this video a like and subscribe to the channel. You can also help by joining our Patreon page or by clicking on any of the affiliate links posted below in the video description. So, as we mentioned before the intro, we have the LaserPecker LP2. This one is available in 4 versions. The first one is the basic and only includes the engraver. The second option includes the roller. The third one includes the roller and a power bank. And the fourth one, and more expensive, includes all the previous accessories and the storage case and the cutting plate. In this video, we will be testing the second option. The main features of this engraver are the engraving speed at 600 millimeters a second. This is possible because the laser moves in X and Y axis by the means of a mirror, instead of a moving axis. This means it's possible to complete projects in much less time when compared with other diode lasers. The laser is equipped with the dual optical lenses, making the laser spot size at 0.05 millimeters, and this way supporting 1, 1.3, and 2K resolutions. The engraving area is 100 by 100 millimeters. The roller not only allows engraving round materials, but also can make the laser move on top of it and therefore extending the engraving area up to 100 by 2000 millimeters. It has high-speed preview, which can let us see the area that will be engraved, and this way allows us to align the object perfectly. Also, the fact that it's portable, because it has a small size and weight, and therefore we can engrave wherever we want. The engraver can be controlled by a computer or smartphone. According to the manufacturer, it has a lifespan of over 10,000 hours and over 168 hours of continuous work time. And finally, the protections. It comes equipped with a protective shield, safety goggles, password lock, tilt protection, and overheat protection. When we order the LaserPecker 2, this is what we get. First are the user manuals, one in English and one in German. Then we have some cables, the shield, some test samples, laser goggles, the engraver unit, the electric stand, and finally the power supply. Under the main foam, we also have a wooden ruler, some screws and tools, and also the base for the stand. And this is everything that came inside the package. The manuals are very detailed and show the installation setup and maintenance. This is the shield. This shield comes with a small fan. The power supply is this small unit. The output is 12 volts and 5 amps. And this is the engraver. At the top, we can see the handle to hold the engraver. There are also a couple of touch buttons and a light indicator. The top one is for the preview. The middle one is for the laser indicator, and the bottom one is the power switch. At the back are the USB and power connectors and a cooling fan. There's one for powering the electric stand, one for the shield fan, the Type-C connector is for the computer connection, and finally one for the DC power supply. On the bottom side we can see the window from where the laser is fired from. This engraver unit is quite small and handy. This is the electric stand. In it, there's an L-shaped piece to set the focal distance. The power connection is here at the side. And here are a couple of touch buttons. to raise or lower the Z. Okay, now for the installation. First, we start with the base and the stand. There are a couple of screws we need to use to secure it. The screws go from under the base and the stand is attached at the top side. With the stand assembled, we can now attach the laser unit. Next are the connections. First, we have the power connection. Next, we have the connection between the laser unit and the electric stand. Then we have the shield fan. The shield is placed under the laser unit. There are a few slots to place it in and then slide it back. And finally, the connection between the laser unit and the computer. The cable that comes with the laser to connect the computer is a 90 degrees angle connector. There might be some cases where this could be an issue, so a straight plug for the computer side would be a better option. And this is the laser engraver completely assembled. This engraver is equipped with Bluetooth, so we can control it with a smartphone instead of a computer. In the manual, there's a QR code with the link for the app. For the Android version, this leads us to Google Play, but for some reason we cannot install it from there, because we get an error saying that this is not available in our country. On the manufacturer's website, it's possible to download the app directly, so we did just that. We also downloaded the computer version from there as well. When we open the computer version, this is what we get. Right away, we get a driver error, which means that it can't connect to the laser engraver until we install this driver. Clicking on Install Now will redirect us to the installation file that is already saved on the computer. We just need to execute it to install it. Once that is done, we can then open the software. Next, we click on Connect the device. Choose the COM port and it's connected. On the gear symbol, we can check the laser's name, type, firmware version, and also a few settings that we can enable or disable. The software is very basic, but it allows the user to make simple drawings. When importing image files, we can make a few tweaks on the image to prepare it for the engraving. As for burning settings, the software comes with the material list where we can choose the material and it applies the settings according to the selected material. The settings can be edited and they are the resolution, number of passes, laser power, and depth. Then we have three types of design types: fill, image, and line. It's possible to have different settings for each of these three types of designs. One of the confusing things of this software is that you always have these three design settings even though you only have one of them on the engraving area. The software also does not display how much time the engraving will take, which for us is a major negative point. Depending on the type of engraving, you can have tasks that can take a few minutes or a few hours, so this information is quite important to have. Before starting the laser, we need to adjust the height so it can be at the ideal focus distance. With the shield installed, the distance is with the shield touching the material. A long press on the Z button will make the Z move until we touch the button again, which we need to do before it reaches the material. With short presses, we bring the Z down in small steps. If we don't use the shield, we can use the probe instead. The ideal height is when the probe touches the material. This software also includes a library of images that we can use. For our first test, we decided to engrave one of those images. For the settings, we used the recommended settings for wood material that is on the software. The first try came out too strong, and the engraving was a bit burned. We did a few more tries while reducing the power to dial the settings in. The wood used for this test was 3mm thick MDF wood. While engraving one of the images that is on the software, we noticed that although the laser engraving task is fast, the entire process was not, because the software was separating parts of the design into layouts and loading them separately. For each layout loading, the laser engraver would sit and wait for a few seconds, making this job take a lot more time than it was supposed to. For this test, we used balsa wood, so we had to dial in the engraving settings again for this material. Next, we tested engraving on cork. Again, we used the settings from the software and for this material. We also used one of the images from the software, and once again, it was loaded and engraved in steps. We didn't need to adjust the settings for this material because the engraving turned out very nice. Next, we did a few tests on stone and also on metal. This small metal tag was the one that was included with the engraver. For these two materials, we didn't need to adjust the default settings as well. And of course, we also did some cutting tests on wood. We tested cutting wood boards of different thicknesses and it was able to cut them through. The cut piece was, however, cut with an angle, due to how the laser is fired in this engraver. Unlike other models with moving axis, this laser is being reflected, which means that cuts closer to the edge of the engraving area will be cut with a bigger angle than the ones cut in the center. As we mentioned in the beginning, our laser engraver included the roller. Inside the roller's box, we have a small bag with rubber bands, a USB cable, a metal support, and the roller. The roller looks very nice. It has a small light indicator at the top and a couple of USB connectors at the side. Underneath are a couple of blocks with ball bearings and magnets. The roller can be attached on the engraver's base like this. And to connect the roller is very simple. First, the external fan needs to be disconnected. The USB cable that came with the roller will connect it to the laser engraver. The fan can also be used, and it's connected directly to the roller. The two blocks are used when we have long boards. The ball bearings allow the board to move back and forth. On the software side, we need to enable the roller and select a specific mode. There are 3 different modes that the roller can be used: slab, rolly, and cylinder. For this mode, we need to select slab. The cable connections are the same regardless of the mode we choose. If we want to use the roller to move the engraver, we need to use the metal support and attach it at the back of the roller. The support has a short side and a long side. The longer side should be faced to the roller, and the shorter side to the laser engraver. The 2 blocks can be attached to the roller for additional stability. On the software side, we need to select rolly. For this mode, the roller will become a moving platform, moving the laser as it is making the engraving, and this way extending the engraving area up to 2000 millimeters. On some demonstration videos, we see the roller moving back while engraving. Ours is actually moving forward. The direction is something that cannot be chosen. The fact that our model moves forward instead of backwards is related with the firmware currently installed. We also tested engraving on glass, and to do that, we had to paint the engraving area on the glass with a dark paint first. For this, we need to select the cylinder mode on the software. Since the software does not have settings for glass, we use the profile for ceramic. Regarding the results, And for the engravings done on MDF wood, and after doing a few of them to dial in the settings, we think that at the end we got a pretty decent result. Same thing with the engravings done on balsa wood. After some engravings to dial in the settings once again, we got good results. Engraving on cork was the easiest as the default settings for this material worked perfectly. The engravings done on stone also turned out good. The tests made on the aluminum tag show that this laser engraver can engrave this material very easily. For the cutting tests, we used wood boards with 3 different thicknesses. The first was 2 mm thick, and the laser had no issues cutting it. The second was 3 mm thick, and again, no issues to cut it. And the third one was 5 mm thick, and also no issues. To achieve these cuts, we prefer to use a faster speed and more passes to avoid burning the wood. However, we did notice that the pieces were cut in an angle. This is because the laser is being directioned inside by a couple of mirrors, and the more you approach the cuts to the edge, the bigger the angle the cut pieces will have. As for the engraving done with the roller, and when using it as a moving platform, it worked okay. The engraving itself shows these messy lines on each letter. This happened when changing the letters from filled to hollow. Although the software shows a single outline for each letter, when engraved, it turned out like this. We also noticed that the roller was dirty and sticky on the side where the laser is fired next to. The laser being fired too close to the roller makes the fumes from the wood while engraving do this mess. And for the glass, painting it with a black Sharpie before engraving helped a lot with the result. If we don't do this, the laser will not be able to engrave on this material so easily. And here are the pros and cons. And on the positive side we have, it's basically fully assembled. We only need to attach the electric stand or the roller, connect the cables, and it's ready to go. The laser is good for beginners since it's plug and play and easy to operate. It's compact and portable, which makes it possible to carry it and engrave anywhere easily. It's equipped with a dual lens focus system. It includes a very handy electric stand, and this stand is equipped with a focus tool. It's also included a big shield with a fan. It has tilt protection, overheat protection, and password lock. The manufacturer has its own computer software and smartphone app. Since there are no moving axes, the engraving speed is very fast. The downside is that when you have jobs with different layers, each layer is uploaded separately, and this way increasing the overall engraving time. The laser has a long working time. And finally, the roller, which apart from its nice features, allows the increase of the engraving area on one of the axes. As for the negative points, we also have the high price for the small engraving area, the USB cable for the PC, which has a 90 degrees connector, which is not very handy. The Android app was not available for our country on Google Play. The software provided by the manufacturer has nice features for beginners, but it's very limited for someone with more experience. The software does not predict or display the time that the job will take. This means we never know how much time each engraving job will take. Some jobs like vectors are fast, but when dealing with pictures, it can take a considerable amount of time, and not knowing how long it will take to complete the task is, in our opinion, a major negative point. Another major negative point is that it's not compatible with Lightburn software, which means we are stuck with the limited software from the manufacturer. Also, on the negative side, we have the messy roller. When using the roller as a moving platform for the laser is fired too close to the roller, and the fumes make the roller dirty and sticky at the end. And that's it, you guys. Thanks for watching. We will see you guys next time. Bye!